What did you want me to say again? Okay. Don't forget to use the code HK21 in the shop.
What's happening, young bloods? Chad Architect here for a very special episode. I wasn't even supposed to actually be recording anything right now because you guys heard about Notre Dame. They hit me up. They said they wanted me to make like a model in Fortnite. I said, that shit's kind of lame. I gotta teach a class. You know, I gotta inspire the young builders out there. And as you can see by my background, the theme today is going to be limitations. Because imagine if these two guys right here were held back by limitations, okay? Drake wouldn't have made Take Care, and Neil deGrasse Tyson wouldn't have discovered that the Earth is in fact a sphere, okay? They didn't let the limitations hold them back, and we aren't going to let that happen either, okay? So today's focus is going to be around creating your own objects in creative mode. Because frankly, there ain't enough shit, so we need to make our own. And we're going to be looking at a couple displays that I made, a couple displays that some of my subscribers helped me out with on stream. And I'm going to show you guys a few methods that you guys can use of how to just create your entirely own unique objects that probably other people have never even used before. Okay? We're really opening up the doors to what's possible. And pretty soon, maybe you could be the third face in this picture. Look, there's room right here in the middle for you young virgins. There's room for another Chad right here in the starry background. So let's hop in and let's teach some lessons. Well, here we are, gang, at the unholy grounds where virgins sell their souls to become Chad architects. And as you can see, most of this is built entirely out of unique objects. Other than the rocks and the background, everything is multiple objects combined into one thing to create, you know, its own little unique entity. So, before we get into how to build our own objects, we need to shift your perspective on how you're looking at objects. So, for instance, when it comes to this bridge right here, if we pull out one of these little wooden pieces and we place it down, drop off, you'll see it creates a nice little like wooden plank that you can combine together to get a nice little arched bridge like that with a little bit of rotation work. But this isn't really the intention of this wooden piece right here at all in the first place, because if we rotate it, not on the fucking yaw, dude, we gotta rotate it pitch. If we pitch it, you'll see that it's actually a hay trough. And it really wasn't even intended to be used like for a bridge like this in the first place. So this is what I'm talking about on shifting your perspective on things. Don't just take something like a hay trough and assume that can be its only use into your maps. Really, like, place it down, really become one with the hay trough and figure out what it's made of. You know, place it down, look at it from every different angle and think about how every single piece of this hay trough could be used to create something else. Same applies for these metal columns right here. As you can see from the top right here, most of the metal column is hidden. And that's because when you place it down, it's actually this fucking thing right here. This little tractor bullshit right here. But after a little bit of stretching and, you know, placing them down in a repeating fashion like that, it becomes part of a metal column. So all we did was one top side right there, multi-select that bitch, flip it over, place down the bottom, and you get a metal column looking thing. So this is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. We're not talking about 3D rendering your own shit, you know, hacking in the game, some useless shit that's going to get you banned. We're talking about actual build techniques to create objects that ain't no motherfuckers are going to have in their build. Alright? Now that you've become one with all the objects in the game and are looking at them from a unique perspective and really breaking them down what they are, one other technique that I would use is to break down what each object is made of. So, God, this sounds so philosophical. But if we look at this chair right here, okay, and really break it down, at least in my eyes, I see the chair as three different things. You have this bottom cube part right here. You have the back, which is kind of well lit and a fancy little pattern. And you have this top, which are these like little spiky things right here. And if you want to isolate any of these pieces, you just resize them accordingly. So let's say we want to use this bottom part here. Well, we just increase the width and maybe we just hide this part behind a wall or something like that. And now you've got a nice little metal bar stone slab thing sticking out, which, like I said, if you hide part of it, can be integrated in your build and no one would be the wiser that it's actually part of a chair. So any part of this could be isolated, which is a little bit of resizing. You know, if we want to get the top part right there, we bring the height up, and now we hide this bottom part right here, and we get a really cool wall. And what this is useful for is, oh, I missed a spot, whoops. This display right here is built pretty much entirely out of the fucking chair itself. So as you can see, by using the top part right here, you get this really like World of Warcraft-y crystal railing over here on the side. Same thing with the back. We resized it to be fucking huge, and it kind of looks like it's a part of a wall right now. And the bottom, we also made enormous to create a little like fountain display right here. So this is what I'm talking about changing your perspective on things. Try to use not only different pieces of the object, but also resize them to isolate the pieces and try to integrate those into your build in different ways. So the next technique that I want to talk about is utilizing grid snap for creating your own objects. And this is mostly going to be useful for creating symmetrical looking pieces for your objects. So for instance, with the metal columns over here, you'll see if we look behind the scenes that we just placed it on a 16 grid snap and rotated around and placed one at each different interval. I mean, we missed a couple, but for the most part, we got it. We just put it on 16 and put it at each different interval. And it ends up creating a nice little symmetrical, bars down low. And a lot of objects actually end up looking surprisingly cool when you throw them on 16 and rotate them. So for instance, this stupid little pottery table right here, you wouldn't think much of it until you put it on 16 and place it at each interval, and you see how sexy it is. So we're gonna turn on 16 grid snap, and where's the middle? Right there. And now we are just going to place it at each different one. Which rotate is it? Yaw. We're gonna yaw that bitch. We're gonna yaw yeet it and rotate it once, place down again, and just repeat that until we get a symmetrical looking object. So now when we come down here, you'll see that this creates like this really fucking cool metal railing right here that would go nicely, if you had a sexier looking pillar than this one. But for the sake of time, we're just gonna pretend that we made another cool looking unique object right here. And this was gonna be, what's the word for that? I don't know what the word for that is. The molding up top? We're gonna go with that word. You know what I mean though. Creates a fancy little top part. And if we, multi-selected that and rotated down the bottom, you would get a nice little symmetrical thing. And, this works with a lot of objects in the game. Just put it on 16 snap, just do some rotating and placing, and see what you come up with. This might be useful, some like stone pylon or whatever, but just a lot of different things end up making stuff that you wouldn't expect would be cool until you experiment with it in such a way. So that's gonna about do it for today's video, and I hope this pointed you in the right direction of how people are, out there creating really unique things all their own, and it really just requires a lot of practice and doing your best to try to figure out how each different piece in this game could be used once you do a little resizing, do a little grid snapping, and start combining things together to create objects that are super salient and kind of abstract looking. I mean, obviously everything isn't going to look perfect or whatever, and it's going to require a lot of experimenting around and trying to figure out what looks good and what doesn't or whatever. But in the end, I think that you're going to end up creating a lot more things. It's actually going to open a lot of doors for you. Like, for instance, the curved bridge or whatever. There's no curved bridge in the game that arcs in the way that it did over in my little satanic virgin sacrificial place over there. Oh, wow. See? The bottom part's kind of ugly. But if we could, mask the bottom part, that could end up looking pretty cool, I guess. But, I hope I sent you guys in the right direction. And if you create anything really cool, I would love to see it. Hop on one of my streams. You could show it off. I don't know if you guys have heard the big news, but...
This. Alright, 3, 2, 1. FTC. Oh, I like him as well.
Yeah, I was blown away when I saw that too. But that's all I got for you fuckboys today. So I hope I sent you in the right direction. You know, come on the stream, show off what you guys got if you're able to make anything unique. We always love to get a little inspiration over there on the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're a fucking Chad yourself and you're interested in more Fortnite creative content. And use supported creator code HK21 in the motherfucking shop. And that's going to be all. So thank you guys very much for watching us all the way through. Hope I sent you in the right direction. Peace.